Okay, hi everyone. So we're just getting, the last minute details set up for the podcast today for the sweaty truth, where we share our truth as sweaty, successful moms, busy moms, trying to do it all. But the truth is you can't do it all. And the three of us were chatting, and right now is quite a polarized time because with everything that's going on the planet, people have opinions and not everyone's opinions match. And that's something that I think is important to recognize when we're looking for solutions. Like there's global solutions that we obviously need and require, but within our own homes, like there's, we need solutions for how to live and navigate the times right now. And with that comes rejection, because what you choose for yourself is not going to be what someone else chooses. And I know Miriam and myself and Kristen have all experienced rejection. And what's interesting is that no two people experience rejection the same. The feelings are different. The way that we cope with it is different. The way that we move out of it is different. So we're going to talk about rejection and how we deal with it and how we can continue to be our most authentic selves. I think there's like a saying or something that's like, if everybody likes you, you're probably not being yourself. Like there's going to be, the more you are who you are, there's going to be people that just won't like you. And really that's okay. So Miriam's here and we're just waiting for Kristen. So if you have any questions or comments or anything to share, just like type them in the comments and we're following along to see what you want while we're chatting. And the other thing we wanted to share is where our podcast came from. So I think this is our third episode, Miriam?
At least fourth?
Maybe our fourth.
I think it's our fourth.
Counting?
Yeah, number 4.
But we're really taking imperfect action. And the reason that we're doing this is because we have a really big global mission. And our mission is to grow a community like you guys that believes in raising leaders that are wholeheartedly connected to the earth. And we believe that when you live your peace and your purpose, you automatically teach your children to lead with their hearts and change the world. So that's why we're here, is to share more about how you can do that by sharing how we're trying to do it. Right, Miriam?
Yes, I like that you say trying, because it's a trial and error for sure, and it's a challenge every day. So yeah, there's nothing that just work perfectly fine all the time. That's a lie.
Yeah. So Miriam, when, in the last 3 years, especially, I think you've really, really stepped into who you are and you're living it and you're sharing it. What happens to you when let's actually, even before we get into rejection, what are the things and the shifts that you've made to realize this is who you are, this is in your soul and your spirit, and living it outward? What are some of the changes that you've made in your life?
I think I've always been like this. Just the fact that I felt kind of out of the norm was something that was making me holding back on certain things. And having found my community with people more like-minded or supporting my unique personality was huge. This is what make a big difference for me, where I felt, okay, we're all different and it's how it should be, because otherwise the world would be quite boring if we were all the same. And we have to, if we're coming from a place of heart and love, everyone should just be fine with who you are, uniqueness. That's so keeping that in mind, I guess I felt more comfortable putting my likes and sharing what I'm passionate about. Just knowing that if people are not able or accepting who I am, then maybe there should not be in my close circle, because I want to be surrounded by positive people and like-minded people. So that's something that I have to remind myself. We're all different, and I have a certain way I feel I want to live, and I'm really accepting of all people around me. But if the people around me can't accept who I am, it's okay. I'll still love them, but I still have to know that that we're slightly different, and I need to have them in my perhaps further apart circle, not direct circle, because I want to be surrounded by the people who are positive and with a good energy and a really kind and loving heart, and I want to be influenced by those people. Whether, because we know, like, we're the average of the 5 people we're spending the most time with. So that's something I always remind myself, like, you're the average of the 5 people you're spending the most time with. So those people have to be aligned with your truth and with who you are and how you think we should all behave. So kind of, I don't know, that's a long babbling.
Actually, yeah, I absolutely love that point. Like, you are like the people you spend the most time with, like the 5 people. And I always ask myself, not just who am I physically spending time with, who am I spending time with in my head? Like, I know there's sometimes, like, there's certain people for a long time, like my mom and I are definitely more aligned now, but there was a time where we weren't. And I was constantly thinking of her judgments, which were my own judgments. They really had nothing to do with her, but I had her in my head as this like person that I was trying to please, but not trying to please. And I was like, she at that time didn't belong there in my circle of influence, right? And I think it's like important to remind ourselves, like, are those 5 people being supportive, or are they people we have to suppress ourselves around, like suppress our authentic self? And bringing that up too, Miriam, so next week we have a mini training called Embracing You. So it's perfect timing to bring that up. And it's really how to uncover, like, who is supporting you, who are you suppressing yourself around, and like, how can you actually continue to live like who you are in a big and bold way, or whatever bold is to you. Like, I always say, like, for myself, excitement, if I were to compare boldness to excitement, I am an excitable person. So my excitement and my boldness might be different than, say, Miriam, or say, like, my friend Elena. Like, her excitement is more at a lower level. So her to be like super, super exciting wouldn't be her anymore. That's not her boldness. Her boldness would be like, one step up of excitement. So for me, I'm being my authentic self when I get like that little bit more of excitement. That's kind of like a catch for me. It's like, oh yeah, this is really me. That doesn't mean I always have to be excitable, but with that being bold is what I mean. Does that make sense, Miriam?
Yeah, absolutely. We're all, as we say, we're all unique. So we have all our way to expressing how we feel and all this. I mean, it's funny you bring that up. I lived in Sweden for a year, and Swedish people are so much more quieter and calm and paused. That as me, I mean, I am excitable. You can see me talking with my hands. Like, I do have that French blood in there. For them, they could spend a whole day with us, and we thought they were just sad and bored. And at the end of the day, they're like, "Oh my gosh, was the best day of my life." So we are all different. We have way of expressing how, when we feel good, when we are in our environment, when we're happy, and it's very unique to ourselves. And I think a very important part of being able to accept who you are and tell your truth is that you recognize we're all different, and to accept the others. Like, we have to accept ourselves, but also accept people around us, and accept the fact that they might be very different and they're not where you're at this point, and they can't recognize that the differences are important and beautiful, and that's okay. Like, we're all in different position. I think that's something I remind myself too.
Yeah. And I found like yesterday, like, speaking of being different, I kind of like, there's a part of me that wants to be a rule follower, and there's a big part of me that doesn't. And I kind of have this battle between following rules and not following rules. And one example is, like, I like to bike to work, and you're not supposed to bring your bike in the building. However, I have a spot that's like safe, it's out of the way, it doesn't bother anybody, and I can keep my bike there. But because when I go into work right now, there's all these checkpoints that we have to go through. And then so I'm afraid of the judgment. I realized this yesterday. I was afraid of the judgment of like, I'm breaking the rules by bringing my bike in, because these checkpoints, these people are going to be like, you're not supposed to bring your bike in. But they're not security. They're not going to, like, no one's really going to stop me from bringing my bike in. No one stopped me for the last 5 years. So I said to a friend, I was like, okay, I'm just not going to care what people think about seeing me with my bike. And then I was like, okay, that's not actually true. It's not that I don't care. It's that I'm working on not caring. Because do I think bringing my bike in is wrong? No, but it's not the rules. And I teach my children to follow our values, not to follow the rules. And so if the value for me in bringing my bike in is staying fit, having fun, being able to get to work very quickly, being able to get home quickly, and it's not hurting anyone, then my value is that, yes, I can bring my bike in. Right. And for my kids, it's like, I use the example of going up the slide. So at the YMCA, they have like this indoor, like cool slide, and there's a sign on the wall, and it's like, you can't go up the slide. So I went over the rules with the kids, and I was like, here's the thing. It's like, we follow our values, not the rules. And the rule is that you also have to have socks on, that you cannot go up the slide. But if there's no other children here, then you can go up the slide, because our value is safety. Our value is that you don't hurt yourself and you don't hurt others. And so if going up the slide when no other children are here is not hurting yourself and it's not hurting others, then you can do it. And I try to take the same concept for myself, but I definitely have that like really strong internal struggle of like, but it's the rules. Like even driving through a parking lot, like I think there's a personality test of like, how do you drive through a parking lot? Like there are people that are going to like cut through the middle of the parking lot when it's empty to get to a space that they want, right? Okay, so Miriam, you'll just like cut right through?
Yep.
Okay.
I will have something in there though. So, oh, well, no, there's no one, it's empty, it's fine.
So I have had to work up to being able to just cut through the parking lot, because I'd be like, oh, I'm going to follow exactly where it is. There's no other car in the parking lot and there's that little stop sign. I'm going to stop at the stop sign. Like I did not want to break the rules in a parking lot. But when I uncovered this like personality trait, I was like, I'm going to work on breaking some rules a little bit, because there's no other car in the parking lot. And it's kind of saying like, again, tapping more into like, who am I? And I know this is like a really small tool, but it really does relate to like the bigger aspects of life, because there's always going to be rules, whether it's from the organization that you work for, whether it's like, you know, your parents' rules, again, that get stuck in your head and they don't live with you anymore. You know, there's all these limitations that are always going to be put upon us, and there's going to be rules that we break. There has to be, because there's too many rules to navigate. And so we have to find like our own personal truth. And it's hard. Like I struggle with that because I want to please everybody. And when you follow your own values, you know, not everyone's going to like it.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I also have German, so the following the rule is a big one for me. Like I have the French crazy, we don't follow the rule, and the German, you follow the rule. So I do have that battle, but I really like what you said, Leslie, is like the values. I mean, obviously you have to have the right values, like to be respectful of everyone, to be respectful of the environment, to be respectful of your own safety and the other safety. But those are like big values. And if you follow the values, and if what you do is respectful of who you are, but also of the others, because we are living with other human being, then that should be a guidance. That should be a big guidance. Like, what are your values, and are they? Yeah, I think I really like that. I think I will repeat that to myself more often.
And yeah, so you know, again, that's me always checking in with like, am I being me? Like, why am I following this? Who is influencing me, right? Those 5 people. And I've even asked Justin, I'm like, sometimes just silly things. I'll be like, I'll call it like being my weird self. I'm like, if I share this, will you still love me? I think it's okay. I think it's okay to have people that you check in with when you know your temporary limits of like wanting love and wanting acceptance. And so it's like, okay, well, will you at least accept me, Justin? Will it be at least you? And sometimes it's not him, right? Sometimes it's I call you Miriam, and I'm like, will you still love me? And I like it's such a natural human thing to desire love and desire acceptance. But we can't be accepted by everybody, but we can be accepted by the people, those 5 people, right? So Miriam, have you like actively chose your 5 people, or is it like a passive, like you just know they exist, but you're not really sure of like who those 5 people are?
Well, I think right now they're pretty easy to determine, yes. Yeah, no, I think they chose me and I chose them. I think that's, I guess that, yeah, I mean, once you speak your own truths and you're yourself, you're also attracting like-minded people. So the 5 people that are around you, if you're being honest with yourself, are also people who want to be around you, and they kind of gravitate towards you. So yeah, once you're through that path, I think I don't know, it's just kind of a combination of both. Like there's no much choice to do, really. Like there's a choice to do when you realize that the people surrounding you are not the one you want to be the average of, and that is a hard work to do on yourself. But once you are being your true self for a while, then whomever is gravitating around you is really a good fit for you, typically, because you're speaking your truth.
Yeah, and I think there's actually like studies of the heart resonance and how your like the energy outside of your body, like when you're really being who you are, the energy actually expands and gets bigger. And it interacts with other people. And then it's either going to push some people away. It's like why they play classical music outside of the library, because there's people at that frequency, at that level, they don't resonate there. And so they will not hang out there. Those people go away. They go to like a block further down away from the library, and it's because they don't resonate at that level. So they're going to move out. And it's not aggressive. You don't have to push people away. You don't have to sometimes you have to cut people out of your life, but you don't have to aggressively cut people out of your life. And by being you, it naturally moves the people away. Just like downtown, people move away. Some people move away from the classical music. But then there's the people that actually resonate with the classical music, and it's actually going to draw them in. So there's people that will resonate with your heart and like where you're at, and draws them in. And I really noticed this when Justin and I used to be like, we're weird and we're weird together, and it's great, but we don't have a lot of people in our life that truly get us. There's people that like entertain the fact that we're great, like that we're weird and spiritual, but you know, they don't really accept us. And then we just decided to say, hey, we're actually normal. This is normal. Living with your heart is normal. And suddenly, like everyone that came through our door was open and receptive and loving. And it's like, I've never looked back. Like I have such a big bubble of amazing people in my life that I actually forget that not everyone thinks the way I do, because I'm in such a big bubble of my own of amazing people that work for me. And my amazing people is not necessarily everyone's amazing people, because we all have our own bubbles and groups that resonate with us. And there's nothing wrong with, if my bubble doesn't get along with your bubble, that's okay.
Yeah.
Right. But when it is love, again, it's not going to be forceful. It's just going to be like an energetic flow that's like, moving away or moving towards. It doesn't have to be mean or angry or those feelings of frustration.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then so when we're talking about rejection at first, and I feel like well, sometimes I think I'm rejected, but I'm not. When I get in that thought process, I remind myself that love is really important, and then be empathic. Like, we're all in a different position, and by being empathic and then recognizing where the other people are and why they're thinking that way, for me, it makes it easier to not feel rejected. It's just facts. We're in different position. We have different way of thinking. I still love this person and will still give my love to that person. And also, just yeah, by accepting the fact that we are in recognizing, looking into it, feeling the way they feel, then it's much easier for me to not go down that route of reflection and rejection, and then just trying to remind myself to always be love and kind and open heart. Like, that's so important. It's certainly lately like, that has been like, I've been reminding myself every day, like, we need to spread the love, and that's really what is going to make us feel also less rejected and better, and it'll be a big positive things for everyone around us, regardless of where we're at and how we think and feel. Like, it's something that I have to remind me myself every day.
Oh yeah. And again, especially around these times, everything is polarized. Like, the emotion, because the emotions of fear and the search for security are like actually very different in our bodies. Like, it's very polarized. And then so when you feel those like polarized differences, that's when we have to say to ourselves, like, that's when you meet in the middle and you lead with your heart. So if I'm feeling like, I wish someone would see things my way, and this person is toxic, and I just want, like, anytime that dialogue goes on, I'm like, wait a minute. Am I living with my heart and trying to find the center? Which sometimes you don't need to know the language of the center. So if you're a feeler like me and you're like, I don't know what the words would be for what is the middle ground to this, like, labeled toxic person. Again, they're not toxic. They just have a different vibration than you. And that feels toxic too. That is not their fault. It is your responsibility. It's my responsibility to connect with my heart, because then they are not they will actually move away. Like, it's not their fault. So when I have that polarization, I ask myself just to literally feel my breathing in my heart, expanding and then contracting and expanding, and just literally breathe with my heart. And I will tell you, when I don't do this, I rage like one M mother or one F mother. I get really mad because I lose my grounding. I lose who I am. And I get like most people don't believe me when I tell them this. I get super, super ragey. I scream, I hit things. I get really, really mad. And when I'm in that phase, like, Justin has to tell me to go into timeout. It's not timeout. Adults need timeout. We go into timeout, and it doesn't always work. Sometimes I just keep spiraling and it's terrible. But sometimes, maybe 50% of the time, I'm working on it. Just like go in my room and like feel my heart and feel the rage, and just like let the inhale and let the exhale, and just again reconnecting to like, who am I? And then those people, so again, has nothing to do with those people, has to do with the connection in my own heart. So I think I lost my internet connection for a second. It's back.
Yeah.
So anyway, connecting with the heart.
Yes. Grounding. Oh. Connecting with the heart. I think if you're listening to us, you want to lead with your heart. You are a good-hearted person, and so it's super important to remind ourselves, okay, the world will turn around if everyone can spread the love. Like, I have to remember my kids recently, like Emma was like, Mommy, no one loves the earth, and then she started drawing the earth on a piece of paper and say, Emma, I love you. And so I think about those things, I'm like, yes, we have to spread the love. We have to share it. We have to wish for everyone to be in a positive mindset. That I remember that if I just go in the backyard and just breathe, and actually quite often I sit down on the deck and then just breathe and close my eyes and try to be more in tune with the outside and my body, and then just find my heart again.
Yeah.
That I find it helpful for me if I'm just kind of spiraling all over and like, no.
Yeah. So of live with your heart, connect with yourself, you know, be whatever. I guess if I would say our 3 tips from today would be the 5 people that you surround yourself with, those people that influence you, super important to living your unique life, living as uniquely you. Making sure you're living by your values, not by the rules, and living with love, like living your heart open and trusting that it will manifest the things that you want, and it's going to repel the things that you don't want when you live with your heart. So if you're ready to not just like hear those concepts, but you're actually ready to like lean in and understand who you are and how you can actually be free from boundaries to be you, we have our training, our mini training next week, and it's in our private group. So you have to join our private group, and the event is not posted yet, Imperfect Action, but we have this mini training. It's going to be about 15 to 30 minutes, and you're going to have an actual experience. It's not just about hearing, oh yeah, that sounds nice. That's a great idea. You're going to actually do some work in that 15 minutes so that you can make the shift to connect to who you are, and you can live whatever boldness is, whatever that means to you. And so basically our kind of slogan is redefine success to be whatever's important to you. Oh, Kristen, we're just ending.
Oh my God. I told Chris, hi everyone. I told Chris, I was like, our podcast is at 1 o'clock. And I left my phone off and I was just checking an email and I was like, oh my God. Sorry.
That's okay. So
I thought I'd hop on quick.
Yeah. So we're doing these podcasts weekly there's no one time that's going to work for us. There's no one time that works for you. And so to follow, where the heck are we and what time are we going to get on? And sometimes we ourselves have no idea.
Oh my God.
But that's awesome that you were disconnecting this morning, Kristen.
Yes. We're having
for ourselves to be surrounded by the right people. And so those 5 people that you spend your most time with and how influential they are. And then we talked about living by your values, not living by the rules. And then living with your heart, living with love, and how you send that energy out. It's going to repel the people that shouldn't be in your life, just like how the library plays classical music outside to repel the people that are not of that vibration, and then
makes sense.
And then for people that want to really connect, to join the private group for our Embracing You next week for the live training.
Yes.
Do you have anything you want to add to this moment, Kristen?
My internet's not even so great on the computer, but what you guys talked about, yes. I think probably you guys are touching this, but it can be like so scary when you finally do live into your truth. It puts you in a vulnerable place. Vulnerability can be scary, you know, to be some rejection. And at the beginning, it is scary, but what you'll find is the more vulnerable you become, the more authentic you become, the more you are living in your true alignment, the more you attract the people that you want to be or need to be surrounded by. And it opens up so many more possibilities, so much more beauty, so much more deeper connections, meaningful connections. And yes, at the beginning, it can be scary and overwhelming, but it opens up so much more to kind of keep you living in your truth and brings out more confidence in yourself.
Because Kristen, you've had a lot of rejection, and now it's like you don't have very much at all because those people have moved out of your life, and now you're filling up with people that resonate with you, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Especially at the beginning when I first was kind of like going to school for nutrition and moving into the more of that holistic mind frame, there was a lot of pushback, a lot of rejection, a lot of kind of mean messages. But yeah, it hasn't been, it's kind of like died out, right? Because those people move on because there's not a fit for us. They don't want to be hearing my message. And so they move away from me. So it allows more people to come in that do want to hear the message and that I can relate to. And yeah, so it opens up definitely more meaning and opportunities. And you can just see how connected a community and how people, more like-minded people can be, like coming together.
Yeah. Back to our sweaty lives.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to end. Mary, want to say anything while I'm figuring out how to end?
Oh, I have had the internet connection has been cutting off, so I it's been hard to follow the last. But yeah, I mean, I love what Kristen's saying, and then Leslie summarized really well. Just be in a place of love, and even if it's hard and it hurts sometimes when you feel rejected, remind yourself to be in that place of love and follow your value. Then you'll be able to get over it and actually create something really beautiful. So it's worth it.
It's worth it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. 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 Bye.